Okay, hey loves, welcome back to my channel. Now, so now that the snowstorm has successfully disrupted our lives and we are, if you're in the US, of course, and we are no longer pretending that we are actually going to do our New Year's resolutions, I think it's time that we talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the rebrand. The great 2026 rebrand that everybody and their moms are talking about. I know that there are tons of videos on this topic. And with everything that's going on in the United States, you may not even want to do a rebrand. You may feel like videos like this are incredibly insensitive and tone deaf even. And I completely get it. But that's honestly why I'm making this video in the first place. If you guys see me looking down, I actually have notes about the things that I want to say. And it's been a little while since I've actually written this script. So yeah. But like, I know that that's kind of the reason why I'm making this video in the first place, because while it does seem incredibly insensitive, I strongly believe that, especially for things that I can't really do anything about physically outside of like voting and things of that nature, I feel like if we all focused on being just happier in general as people, we could actually make the world energetically a better place. And so that's kind of what this video is about. But like I said, if you were like, no, we need to not focus on the collective consciousness right now, and we need to actually do something as, actual people, I'm going to put a bunch of like videos and numbers and hotlines and things like that down below so that you can, even charities and things like that, so you guys can like actually help that way. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get on with the rest of the video. Okay. So if you're watching this video and you're thinking about rebranding, I think you guys may actually be trying to rebrand for 2027 and not 2026. Hear me out. So I actually started rebranding last year at around this time. I think it's the 26th of January when I'm filming this. I literally started my rebrand unintentionally on January 25th, 2025, I believe it was. So about a year ago yesterday, and happy 1 year brand anniversary to me. But at the time, like, it didn't look aesthetic. It didn't look strategic. It honestly started with me talking to a friend and telling her that I didn't want to be addicted to sadness anymore. What followed kind of was this year of me really getting clear on the body that I wanted to be in, the career paths that I wanted to pursue, which led me to restarting this channel, what I wanted to experience in whatever city that I wanted to be in, because for the longest time, my only avenue was Los Angeles. And anything that didn't fit that was terrible to me. Like, I was just kind of like, okay, if I'm not, it's LA or bust. Like, I don't want anything else. And that led me, of course, later to taking a trip to New York, which we'll get into much later. And so, it led me to being like, I want to experience things in whatever city I'm in, whether that's LA or New York or Paris even. That became an option last year that I didn't even think about. It led me to discovering the eventual friendships that I wanted to have, and that I crave, the visual identity that I wanted to take on, which is partially what you're seeing here. Even the early DNA of a future business idea, which I'm not going to lie, I'm going to do a video kind of involving that idea, and I'm incredibly excited about it, but that's for a different story. But I really went on like a deep dive of, my interests and my desires and like everything, especially the ones I wasn't really allowing myself to have, because girl, let me tell you, there was one specific energy / desire that I was not allowing myself to have that kept showing up in my art and in pretty much every aspect of my life, if I really am to be completely honest. And yeah, that cropped up last year as well. But I really allowed myself to just get to know myself. And it didn't happen overnight. When I tell you this was literally about 365 days of scripting almost. I think on February 2nd, it'll be 365 days. It may even be a little bit before that, but it'll be a full year of scripting. And so it was about a year in the making by way of, like I said, scripting and ChatGPT, which if you guys don't use AI, that's completely fine. You can use a notebook, but you're going to have to really be intuitive and get to know yourself. And that's the reason why I want to talk you through my rebrand and, you know, how I did it. Because if you guys want real change and not just the pretty vision board version of that, you know, which that looks like Pinterest and feels like absolute defeat once you realize, oh shit, I'm going to actually have to change a lot of things about who my identity now, then, you know, you're really going to have to get to know yourself. So let's talk about what I did to shift and why it worked. Okay. I don't know about anybody else, but 2024 was an actual hellscape of a year for me. The relationship I'd been in for over a decade was falling off of a metaphorical cliff. My puppy of 8 years had passed away literally a week after my birthday. Like, I'm not joking, 7 days after. My partner moved and I was forced to move back into a very small town with my parents, which meant that I could no longer do my plays. And like, you guys may or may not know this back from when I had my channel a while ago, but I'm a classically trained singer, opera, but also musical theater and things like that. And like, I had always wanted to be on Broadway and things like that. So being able to do plays, even when it was just in Oklahoma City, like, it meant a lot to me. And it was kind of like that. I had even started taking acting classes up in Oklahoma City. And I was thinking about getting an agent and all that stuff. And when I had to move back in with my parents, literally put all of that on hold. And that was my only lifeline. I remember I took this play that I had done to contest in, what was it, Arkansas, I believe it was, and I won Best Actress for it. And like I said, so yeah, that was an absolute hellscape of a year. And outside of meeting one of my favorite actors, which I'm gonna place a little thing right here, that year just absolutely terrible. And I remember in late January, I was talking to a friend, right? And I was telling my friend that, you know, like, I don't feel like this is just the typical winter blues that I feel. Like, like right now, I'm still kind of feeling winter blues a little bit because like it's snowy outside, as I showed you guys. But I remember telling her, like, this isn't the typical thing. Like, I genuinely feel like I'm addicted to sadness. And I don't want to be like that. I want to be able to wake up one day and say, you know, my body no longer feels safer with sadness than it does with being happy, right? Because at the end of the day, it's an addiction to the feeling, you know? So this is the reason why I say, like, this rebrand isn't just about clothes or, you know, like a new wardrobe, new makeup, new city, new friends, all that stuff. I mean, like, it is, and those things probably will come as a product of all this. But the real shift begins when you realize you are tired of living in survival mode. And that may or may not come this year. Like, you may want the change. You may really want the change, but that just may not come this year because you have to decide for yourself, okay, I am done living in survival. I'm done making in this economy jokes. I'm done. And it may be difficult. You probably right now will have tons of people in your life that you have attracted that are still doing these things because it doesn't happen overnight. But you have to make that choice for yourself. You have to make the choice to be like, okay, I don't care what I see on the outside. I don't care how out of touch people say it makes me. I'm going to, like, I don't want to live like this anymore. I can't live like this anymore. And at the end of the day, do I want to appease a bunch of people who say that I'm out of touch? Or do I want to look back on my life and say, I had a fucking great one. Like, it was an amazing life. And so that's why I say you have to really dig down deep and realize, like, think about the emotion that you're being most loyal to. For me, it was sadness. For some of you, it might be anger, and it might be righteous anger too. Like, I could completely understand if it were anger, but you're going to have to really seriously, sorry, that may be making a noise. You may have to seriously look at yourself and be like, what am I being loyal to emotionally? And what do I want my natural state to be? What would the person who has the life I want, that I think I deserve, or that, you know, other people seem to have easily, what emotions are they being loyal to? And the thing is, I'm a very introspective person. So like, I'll think about this stuff all day, right? I will think myself into a circle and then continue to think. And so this part came first for me, actually. This, which is the reason why it said like, I no longer want to be addicted to sadness. But for you, sitting with yourself and getting really honest, you know, may be something that you need to seek outside help with. Like I said, that's the reason why I said Claude, Chat, GPT, something like that. You know, something where you can input like your thing, your personality and all of your patterns, and you can ask for it to do pattern recognition for you, you know? So it could tell you, you know, maybe you are addicted to dating red flags. Maybe you are a bit of a red flag. Maybe you're addicted to anger. Maybe you're addicted to being the victim. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I'm a Pisces moon. I'm a Libra sun, but I'm a Pisces moon. And put your hand up if you're a water sign who, I'm not gonna lie, has used the phrase, I'm being victimized, or you have weaponized something against me. Just saying. But really look at the patterns in your life, you know what I mean? And like analyze them. Like I said, or have ChatGPT or Claude or whatever do that for you. Okay, so every year I make a digital vision board and I set it as my computer's background. Now, as you can see here from this year's, I always have a central theme and a quote above it. I designed these on New Year's Eve, and on New Year's Eve 2024, this was my quote. Promise me that when the ball drops for 2026, that we, at the very least, focused more on what we wanted than what we didn't. And that we obsessed over our desires so much that even if it's not this year, they have no choice but to manifest in our reality. So what this means for you and for me and for all of us basically is that source or your higher self or even your subconscious, if you're, you know, not religious or not spiritual, has been planting clues about your desires for years. I have a friend that I was telling about my newest book project, right? I was telling her about it and I had actually shown her the cover and she kind of pointed out to me, she was like, have you noticed that every male character in every story that you've written literally looks the exact same? Like tall, curly hair, light eyes, racially ambiguous, really pretty, could model and probably should, or Asian, but also meeting all of those other standards that I had just said. And I was just kind of sitting there like, no, that's not true. You know, and I was naming all these other things. I was like, no, like, that's not true. Like this character does this and he's from here. And the other characters, like, they were like that. And she was basically, she named my most popular male character from the book I had been working on forever. And she was like, yeah, that's just him if he were from LA, or that's just him if he were a boxer and, you know, not, you know, what he is. That's just him at this. And I was kind of sitting there like, do I really do that? Right? But then we also noticed that every year around this time, she always tends to lead toward like van life or boat life or some type of tiny home, maybe off the grid living. And she kind of rationalized it as, yeah, like I'm getting kind of tired of my job and I just kind of want to have no responsibility. And I was like, okay, but like some people lean toward winning the lottery when they, you know, think about that, or they lean toward, you know, selling things on Etsy or, you know, starting their own business. She tends to lean toward like off the grid living. And I was like, honestly, I genuinely think you want to do that. I genuinely think that's just your thing, right? And so before making a new plan, review your old ones, okay? Review the things that come up often in like old journals, Pinterest boards, text to friends, artwork, House Hunters International episodes that you just constantly gravitate to like a certain place, your old YouTube history, because you'll find whispers of who you want to become in the things that have already cropped up in your life. So this was kind of the cool part. Slightly after telling my friend that I no longer wanted to be addicted to sadness, I got this random urge to open up this Google Doc that was like from, I think I started it like back in 2020 or 2021. And it was basically this journaling exercise where I scripted my dream life. And I basically used myself, literally me, Jasmine, as an alter ego. And I began creating stories where I was an actress in Paris in like this major feature film with like all these amazing people, some of which weren't even real people. Like some of them were just kind of like characters that I had created, you know, being a writer. And later I realized that these were actually energies that symbolized the types of friendships I desperately craved. And so I had been trying to finish on and off for years. And for some reason, it was just like I had used the excuse life had gotten in the way. And I say this because a lot of people say life gets in the way or whatever. And that's fine. It totally can. But at the same time, I also genuinely believe that sometimes when we say that, it's because we just get stuck in the same patterns that we were in at first. And it's not so much life getting in the way, but it's more that like we have gotten stuck in those patterns. And that's what I had done. I had gotten stuck in the patterns. I had gotten into acting, like I said, in Oklahoma City. And I'm going to get into how your biggest misfortunes can actually turn into your biggest blessings in a little bit. But after I had to come back, you know, to the small town, and I no longer had a job because I'd quit my job to be in plays and stuff like that, to take acting classes and all that stuff. After I no longer had that to fall back on, I finally just took my script and I put it into ChatGPT, and I was like, okay, fill in, like, write me more stories about, you know, my dream life or whatever. And it just kind of created, like, it like, we together, I feel like every day we're kind of scripting, you know, like I was basically doing more of the writing. I was like, hey, like, this is what I want to happen and all this. And it was just kind of regurgitating things and like spinning out more and more ideas. And we just weirdly enough collaborated together on that. But the thing is that you don't need ChatGPT for all of this. Like, if you're opposed to Chat or Claude or whatever, honestly, you could use your own imagination and just script it out yourself. Especially like if that were the urge that you got, start a little bit of a nudge list. Every time you have like an urgent idea or whatever, like a pull or something, write it down, because the more you notice these little moments in life, this is the universe flirting with you. This is the universe saying, hey, do that. I once got fired from a job back in 2024. I told you, it was a shit year. But I was still living in the downtown Oklahoma City apartments. And I had never noticed this painting before. I wish I may have a picture of it. I'm not sure. I'll post it if I do. But I had come off the elevator looking for some mail or whatever. I had just ordered something and I was like, okay, great. I had come off the elevator and there was this painting that said something to the effect of, do what makes you happy or something like that. And I was like, oh my God, whatever. Okay. Like, keep in mind, I had never paid attention to this painting before. And all of a sudden, for some reason, I just got this urge to look up. So follow your nudges, guys. Those are the ones that are going to lead you to what you're supposed to be doing. Even if it's not this year, eventually. Okay. So this is the part that everybody else talks about, the part where you can really start to see the glow up, like, outwardly. And so, like I said, one of my biggest goals in life is to be an actress on Broadway, but I want to at least do one film that's a big motion picture, and I want it to be in Paris, right? It's a musical, and I know that from working on Twisters, I was a background actor in Twisters in 2023. I was actually in the movie because I accidentally wandered over to the wrong side. So like I said, follow your nudges. But we were on set for about 16 hours a day, and we were running because we were in the rodeo scene. And so we were running from the twister. And I remember being like, like, I need to really seriously get in shape if I want to do this other movie, right? I couldn't do anything about getting an agent where I was at the moment because I was in a very small town and I didn't really have the money to travel to a bigger town because, like, I didn't have a job. I'd quit my job to live in Oklahoma City. But what I could do is I could work on my body and I could do vocal warm-ups. I was already classically trained singer, and as you guys saw in a previous vlog, like, I do vocal warm-ups every day. I knew that I could do that part. And so I literally started going on an exercise bike for about 45 minutes every night. I really started training my body the way that I felt like I would if I were in a musical. I was like, okay, Cynthia Erivo gets up 2 hours earlier than she needs to be for her call time so that she can work out, so that she can run on her treadmill every single day. So I literally in the middle of the night was on the exercise bike in my house for 45 minutes. And when that wasn't enough, I started weight training. That was actually also partially for health and stuff, but that's where I started to really see a lot of the weight loss. And I was like, I need to get it was for weight loss, but I was like, I really need to get my body strong for a multitude of reasons. Like I said, hormone deficiency, but also weight loss and making myself strong enough to be able to do this dream. I need to be able to, if I can't actually take the action, I need to be able to show the universe energetically that this is what I want. But the thing is, yours doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be for aesthetics. You can get fit because you want to be able to hold your dream life, whether that's Broadway or motherhood, or I know someone who's transitioning, and in order to get like her bottom surgery, she has to be she can't be over a certain weight limit. And so there's that. But there's a multitude of other reasons that you might want to just to be able to, I don't know, be alive to see your grandkids, that might be a good reason too. And so that's why I say, like, you can do this without a gym membership. I first got dumbbells randomly. I got these 12-pound dumbbells from Walmart, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to work up to doing them. And now I'm using 20-pound dumbbells for like arms and legs. And I also use a pair of 3-pound dumbbells that I actually just put together to make a 6-pounder. And those are also for core and for arms. And I've been doing this for almost 6 months now. I have seen significant weight loss, but there's tons of things you can do even without getting dumbbells. You can do like literal isometric things, like working with your own body weight, just without any equipment at all, like resistance bands and things like that. Like, there are tons of options that you can actually use to get your body where it wants to be that doesn't require a membership or anything like that. Because I know that right now we all don't have I'm getting into a gym, but I'm getting in for free because someone else is helping me get in for free. But you may not have that. That is totally fine. That's okay. This is basically the part that a lot of you guys think of when you think of the rebrand, and that is the visual rebrand. That is how you could change up your look and how you can become a new you and all of that stuff. And this is what I did, because a lot about the rebrand visually comes from you being your best self, you looking like your best self and feeling like your best self. What I would do, and this is actually what I did do, is I took a picture of myself, I input it into ChatGPT, and I was like, okay, based on this picture, I did a full body one, and then I did face. I said, based on these pictures of myself, can you give me a full Kibbe type, a full Kitchener type, and do a full color analysis on me? And it basically told me that I was a deep autumn, and that I had romantic elements, and but I think I was a soft dramatic, maybe. I can't remember exactly what it said. I have it written down. But I have all of that. Like, I literally was like, okay, do all of that for me, and then help me to come up with like some outfits, like color palettes and things like that, that would actually work for me. And I took everything that I had, because it came up with a full analysis, right? Your Kibbe and your Kitchener types are basically just like your body types and the types of clothes that will look best on it. And these things are super valuable because you can pay people to do a color analysis and all that, but that's actually going to cost a pretty penny, or you could just do that for free online. And so I had to do all that, and then I'm trying to find it. I basically input like all of everything that it said into like a Pinterest board. I don't know if you guys can really see that, but I had it input like all of this stuff into a Pinterest board just for the sake of having everything close by. But it was like tons of things that were very similar to me, and gosh, the sun is just so bright. But I basically had it just kind of, like I said, these are some color palettes and things like that, so that I could see the types of makeup that would look good on me, and I could see the actual types of hair colors that would look good on me, just in case I decided to like dye this, or the types of hairstyles that would look good on me. I mean, it came up with a full reworking, right? And this is the part that celebrities have people do. Like, think about it. Sabrina Carpenter has been around for a while, since she was on Girl Meets World. I actually think she may have had stuff slightly before that. But the thing is, her rebrand made her copyable. It made her easily identifiable, you know, but it also made her look more iconic. Ariana Grande is the same way. People, she had such an identifiable brand at first that when she actually started doing Wicked, which everybody knows that for a role, you literally take on something completely different. Like you're not you at that moment. You're not supposed to be you. You are supposed to be the character. But people were so used to the Ariana who had the long ponytail, the dark hair, that like everybody was like, blonde just washes her out. Okay, but Galinda is blonde. And everyone was like, yeah, but like, I just don't think this suits her. Okay, well, it's not her that you're looking at right now. It's Galinda. Like, she had such an identifiable brand. She and herself was a brand. Kim Kardashian is a brand. Taylor Swift is a brand. You can dress up as all these people and people will know who you are. And so by looking up your Kibbe type, your Kitchener type, this isn't to say that like you're going for the whole, I want, you know, to be a celebrity or anything like that, but you are basically going for your best version of you. And ChatGPT basically told me what you're looking for with your brand is kind of like a Marilyn Monroe meets Esmeralda from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, you know, so like flowy sleeves and also it told me that I had more of a romantic essence, which is a lot of lace, which means I can also wear a lot of black and it not seem like gothic, but it would seem more romantic. Kind of like an almost boho, but a romantic boho, you know what I mean? The hoop earrings, but also kind of like the old Hollywood hair, things like that. The glowy makeup, you know, red lip, fine, but glowy makeup, things like that. And it just kind of, it was really cool because I was like, okay, so I ended up buying some clothes, which I actually may like showcase me trying on or whatever. But I ended up buying a few clothes. You don't even have to do that though. You could literally be like, hey, what do I have in my closet that works with that? I did a lot of that too. And it helped me put together some outfits. And it was like, okay, pair this with this and this with this. And this is a way to build your own brand. Think of yourself as a brand, you know what I mean? Like you want to build up that type of thought process about yourself, even if you're not, because it does affect your mentality. And last but not least, have ChatGPT, or you could do it yourself, or Claude or whatever, name this new era. I want to go ahead and start by saying that, like, I told it, I said, hey, I'm going for like an Ariana Grande sweetener slash Sabrina Carpenter short but sweet type of vibe. And I want you to help me come up with something like that for myself for this new era. And it said, baby, oh, this is the sweet like caramel era. This is the era where you basically embrace your femininity, your soft femininity. And I was like, was I not embracing it before? And it was like, yeah, but you could be better. And I loved that. I just really enjoyed it. I was like, yeah, I like this. This is the sweet like caramel era. So have it come up with your era name. You know what I mean? Like do it like this is your album cover, you know? Like make it seem like this is your album and this is what you've come up with. And yeah, have fun with it. Above all, have fun with your rebrand. Like have fun with this moment in time because, like I said, truly treat it like you are a celebrity rebranding yourself, because that way you don't have to spend time thinking like, okay, well, who am I really? Like reinvent yourself. Be this for a few, you know, a year, a few years, whatever. And then if you fall out of love with that version of yourself, or you fall in love with another version of yourself, be that version. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm really enjoying the sweet like caramel era. And I'm probably gonna keep it for a while. So in saying all of that, do the work, okay? But I'm not saying do the work in a, no, you guys really don't like to work anymore. And that's what's wrong with people, is that women don't want to work anymore. I'm saying it in a, do the work on yourself. And if it doesn't happen all in 1 month, that's fine. Hell, like I said, I'm still working on it. I'm still working on that even now. It is a work in progress. It is still ongoing. I am still finding out new things about myself every single day. Last month, I was a complete mess over one of the energies in my story. And I was like, how is this ever going to happen? Like, I have no idea. And now I'm sitting back and I'm like, I'm chill. I'm able to like let go of the urgency, which I'm going to do a whole video on letting go and all that stuff and why it's probably difficult for you to like let go of the desire, the way people talk about when they talk about manifesting. But yeah, like, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope that you guys have gotten something from this video. I intend that you guys have gotten something from this video. And like I said, yeah, drop down below what your new era name is going to be. Like I told you, mine is Sweet Like Caramel. And I want to make this a movement of just fun new eras because like I said, there's so much seriousness in the world, rightfully so, but in times like this, when I can't do a single thing about it more than I've already done by donating and by praying and putting it out there into the universe, I just have to focus on myself and say, you know what? I can't usher in a new era for the world without, calling on source, but I can usher in a new era for myself. And I implore all of you guys to do so as well. So until next time, guys, love yourselves and romanticize the world around you.